What's up, everybody? Noah here. Today I wanted to tell you guys about my coming out story. Coming out as trans guy, not as a lesbian. That's a different story for a different video on a different day. But, so if you guys watched my first video, you know that I came out actually, my coming out story is actually still happening somewhat. But for the most part, I'm out to most people in my life. So I started coming out probably about 6 months ago. We're in the end of March now, so it was probably the end of September or beginning of October when I first started telling people. And I came out to my girlfriend first. She was the first person that I told about it. That if you watch my first video, at work I was having a conversation with one of my coworkers, and all of a sudden she was just like, "Oh, can I call you he? That's just how I see you. I don't know. That's just how I see you." And that was when my like first moment happened where I was like, okay, this is something I need to pay attention to. And then a couple of days later, my girlfriend had gotten home from a trip that she'd taken overseas, and I felt like I had to tell her. I just had to, like, I think that's maybe just my personality, that I can't really hide things from people, especially people that are close to me. So I told her, and she was amazing about it. She just didn't even skip a beat. She just like, okay, we'll do this together, we'll think about it. There's no rush, there's nothing to rush about this. So the more I thought about it, the more I was like, yeah, this is what I need to do in my life. Hey, goodness. So I think in the very beginning I was really timid because I didn't know what to say. Like, what are the words that you use to like come out to tell people that you're transgender? So the first other set of people that I came out to were my girlfriend's roommates, and we were going to see some other friends, and I wanted to go as Noah. I had never met these other people before, and I didn't want them to know my given name. I just wanted to show up as Noah and present myself that way. And so it happened kind of fast. Like it was all of a sudden we were in the car and heading to this party, and I had to tell them because this is what I wanted to do, and I was just like, it's like, it was crazy. All of a sudden I was just like, guys, I have an announcement. I'm gonna be transitioning from female to male, and I'm gonna be going by Noah, and I want to introduce myself as Noah tonight. And they were like, okay. They were like, I guarantee you I'm gonna screw this up. And I was like, it's okay, don't worry about it. Everybody's gonna screw it up at first, it's okay. But they were cool, and they did screw it up. They misgendered me and misnamed me pretty much all night, but it was fine because it was the first time that I had told them or anybody really, so I didn't know how to approach this. And then after that night, I felt really, really even more timid, even more, I don't want to say ashamed, but like scared in myself, because there was a lot of anxiety there, and a lot of uncertainty that evening gave me about coming out. So I spent a couple more weeks just like thinking about it, making sure this is what I wanted to do for real, and then again decided that yes, this is what I needed to do, and I started coming out to more people. And at first, again, I was like, what words do you use to like, hey guys, you know me as female, but I'm actually male, so let's go with that. It was really difficult. And I think I stumbled around for the first couple of people that I came out to. I don't even remember what I said, but I remember the one person I did come out to finally. This kind of happened by accident, but I told her that I was going to therapy for gender dysphoria, and I would be transitioning to male, and she understood that. It was like, oh, okay, this person's got something going on in their mind, and they're going to therapy for it, and then they're gonna do this thing to like help treat it. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, that's a really good way to like segue in, like tell people that you're going to therapy for gender dysphoria, and then you're gonna transition. So like it's a little bit of a it's a nice transition into that conversation, I think. I felt like, anyway. The other thing that I was really worried about when I first was coming out to people was how they were going to react, right? Like, they had this image of me as being female, although super androgynous. I mean, this is how I've been dressing my whole life, so nothing's really changed there. But they had an image of me as being female, and all of a sudden, they were going to have to switch their image. Switch their image of me and call me by a different name and use different pronouns and think of me differently. And I was really, really concerned about that image shift that was going to have to happen within them. But the more and more people I came out to, the more I realized it's a shock at first, and it's like a thing that they have to like kind of wrap their minds around at first, but then nobody actually cares. Like, everyone's like, oh, okay, this is what we're doing now. Cool. Let's just go with that. And then they just go about life like nothing is even different, because I'm the same person as I always was. Anyway, so probably the scariest thing that I did in my coming out was coming out to my whole family. My aunt has a Christmas party every year in between Christmas and New Year's, and I only see them but like twice a year if I go to the Christmas party, because sometimes I don't even go. And then I see them in the summer when we go on vacation together, but I really don't see these people very often, but I am close with them and I respect them a lot, and I didn't want to show up to vacation in the summer having taken testosterone for 4 or 5 months or whatever, and look completely different and sound completely different without having told them. So I booked a plane ticket. I live in Florida, they live in Philadelphia, and I booked a plane ticket. I was there for like 30 hours or something ridiculous, like really not very long, and my whole family was at my aunt's house, and I had told my aunt beforehand, so she knew what was going on, and I had told her that I was going to do this. And she called everybody into the living room at once and said, hey guys, Whitney's got like an announcement that she wants to tell people. And so I was sitting on the couch and everybody was facing me like this. And I did it. I told them that I had been going to therapy for gender dysphoria and that I would be transitioning to male. And again, nobody really cared. Like, it was so much bigger of a deal for me than it was to them. Again, they had this like maybe 30 seconds or a minute probably of like, oh, shock, like what, like, okay, all right, now this is what we're gonna do. And then they just all embraced me and came up and gave me hugs, and some people even told me, if you need anything, let me know, always here for you. Like, everybody was super cool. So that was probably the hardest thing leading up, like the anticipation of telling my family was really difficult for me. But once I got that done and over with, I was like, okay, this is like it's a big hurdle that I just jumped over, and I'm really excited that it's over, so I don't have to do that anymore. So I felt like a little bit of momentum had been built up, and again, like, it just kind of reiterated in my mind that like this was such a much bigger deal to me than it was to really anybody else. So then the task of coming out at work was at hand, and that took me a lot longer, because I work at a ear, nose, and throat clinic, and I work for physicians, and I work with people that I don't see very often. I don't know them all that well, and so that was a much bigger hurdle for me. And like I said, it took a lot longer for me to kind of gather up the courage to really come out to people at work. So coming out at work was probably the slowest process, because I work with a lot of different people, and I see people vary in frequency. So some people I see a lot, some people I don't see very often at all. So I came out to the people that I see on a daily basis pretty early. They were completely cool. Like, again, it was one of those things where I was like kind of built up, like I was worried, but then they were like, oh, okay, so what do you want to drink? Like, it really wasn't a big deal at all. But then that happened really early, and then it took me a long time. Like I said before, it took me a long time to like gather up the courage to come out to my bosses, my office manager and my physicians. And eventually I gathered up the courage to come out to my office manager, and she, more than anybody, was like, why are you even like coming out? Why is this even like a thing that you need to tell people? Like, people transition in a lot of different ways, a lot, and they don't need to come out and like have this big conversation with people. And she said this in a very like, it's fine way, like a very supportive and accepting way. And so through our conversation, I just sort of like was like, yeah, she's right. Like, I can just let this happen because I'm already on testosterone. I've been on testosterone for a couple of weeks. I can just sort of let this thing happen and let myself evolve and change, and just kind of like work it into a conversation here or there, and no one's gonna care. Like, I guess I'm really lucky in that way, that like I've surrounded myself with a lot of really accepting, progressive people. No one in my life has been even remotely unsupportive. Everyone has just been super loving so far, and really encouraging me. So I got through this conversation with my office manager, and she kind of put this idea in my head where I was just gonna like slip it into a conversation to the rest of the people that I work with, and that ended up happening. I told one of the physicians that way, and he was joking about it. Like, I mean, he's a jokester anyway. That's just how he rolls in his daily life. So that's how he reacted. So I wasn't really surprised, and I knew he was going to be fine anyway. But yeah, it was just like, it was a big sigh of relief. Every time I come out to another person, it's just like, okay, that's done. Okay, that's done. And I can be myself, and I'm not holding some sort of secret from people now. So yeah, it wasn't a big deal. It's such a much bigger deal to me than it is to anybody else. That's been my big experience, my big takeaway from this whole thing. Is that there was this huge like anxiety and depression was part of it, and the dysphoria, and all kinds of like just turmoil in my own head about things. And once I tell people in my life, they're on board, and it's not really an issue. So I've been really lucky with that. So that's been my coming out story. I have still probably a couple of people that don't know, but they're sort of on the fringes, and they'll know at some point. They'll either look on Facebook or Instagram or like watch my videos or something, and no one has been surprised. So, I mean, again, this is how I've presented myself in my life since forever, so no one's really surprised when I come out. But oh yeah, I did want to mention one thing, that after I talked to my office manager, it was on a Friday, I hadn't come out on Facebook or Instagram yet, and I hadn't started this YouTube channel. So I felt super empowered after that conversation, and I was like, I'm gonna change my name. I'm changing my name on Facebook. I'm changing my name on Instagram. I'm coming out and telling, like, literally everybody. And again, like, I made a post, threw a picture up there, changed my name, Noah Hill, and yeah, everyone, again, like, people that I went to high school with, people I went to college with, professors, all kinds of people from my past were just coming in and being really supportive and loving and leaving all kinds of, like, very encouraging messages. So I was really happy about that, and yeah, it's been a really positive experience for me. So I would just say, if you're worried about coming out, it's a much bigger deal, especially nowadays in 2019. It's a much bigger deal to us than it is to the rest of the world. I mean, everybody is going to have their process with it. My family, my parents, and some other close people to me are going to have some issues. It's going to take some time, probably. Not that they're having issues, but it's taking some time for them to get used to the name change and the pronoun change. But they're supportive, at least. And I would just say, like, take a deep breath and do it. Get it over with. It might be uncomfortable for the minute that you're doing it, but it's so worth it when you get to the other side, because then you can breathe and be yourself, and everybody knows, and it's not a secret. It's just so much better on the other side. So if you feel like you really need to tell people explicitly, like I did, yeah, just do it, and I think people will surprise you. So that's it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for coming back. Leave a comment, leave a question. I'm hopefully going to be posting more videos every couple of weeks or so, but I really want to talk about and educate people on trans issues, on things that people have questions about. So if you're trans yourself and you haven't come out, or you have come out and you're worried about something, or curious about something, or if you're not trans and you know somebody who is, and you're curious, please leave a comment, leave a question. I will do my best to answer things through my experience. And yeah, that's it. I'll see you next time, guys. Bye. Thanks.